Hello everyone, welcome to this brand new series where I will show you how to develop a React Native app from scratch. In part 1 of this video, I will show you how to set up the React Native app and set up the development environment, and then I will show you how to create a basic navigation using React Native router, and I will also show you how to use style components. This is Saurav. Welcome to my channel Screens, where I'll post videos related to design and development. If you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's set up our React Native project. Okay, so we need to open a React Native website and then go to the docs, and we'll go to environment setup and we'll go to setting up the environment. Okay, and in this I will choose React Native CLI Quick Start rather than Expo. Go through this setup documentation and install the Android emulator and the node environment to create the project. To create our project, and I will name the project as So I will use this name Beat React Native. Okay, now you can see the project is set up. So we'll be using Android for this. So we'll cd into the project, and then we need to do npx React Native run Android. So this will build the project and install the APK on the emulator. So it launches the emulator and is building the APK for us. So now you can see the app is launched. So this is the default screen which you get when you first create the project. So let's go ahead and close these all. So I'll be using VS Code for this. So let's open that. We have opened the app in the VS Code, and we have iOS and Android folders, and we have our app.json and index.js here. So what I'll do is I'll go to this and do npm run Android. So you can see all these scripts have been set up. So if you want to run on Android or iOS, then you can use this script run Android or iOS. So when you run this project, you see that there's another terminal with this log. So basically this is the server which serves the JS bundle. I prefer it to keep it in the VS Code itself. So I'll add another terminal here, and I'll close this out, and I'll do npm start. So this will start a JS bundle server which will serve the bundle to this app. So when you click refresh, you can see that it is fetching the bundle from this. First of all, I'll be creating a folder called app, and I'll move app.js inside app, and let's change the reference here. So let's call it okay. I restarted the server. You can see that it's reloads. So we'll put all our JS code inside this app folder, and we'll have all the Android and the iOS code in their folder respectively. So let's go ahead and remove everything which is not needed. So let's remove the scroll view, okay, and use text. Okay, I'll remove these styles as well. So I'll not be using this default styling here, so I'll remove this. Instead we'll be using style components, so I'll remove this bunch of unused imports, remove this as well, and now you can see that hello from React Native is displayed on the screen, which is cool. And close this out. Okay, so let's go ahead and so basically I'll get rid of this as well. Okay, and use function. So I prefer my components to be functions, so that is great. So I'll be using style components to style my components. So what I'll do is I'll quickly install npm install style components. So now we have installed the style components. Let's see if it is working. So I'll start the server, npm start. Okay, and then do a refresh. Everything is working fine. I'll go ahead and import style components and then have text. So I'll remove the text here and use the text from the style components. So will you do style.text. And you can see everything is working fine. So let's go ahead and change the font size. Let's do 46 pixels. So you can see that it has picked up the style from React style components. So style components gives you the power of styling the components or the elements in form of just like the CSS. So when you're switching from React to React Native, everything remains the same. If you're used to designing web applications, it's mostly the same styling which you can use here as well. So this is cool. So I'll throw in a React router here. So let's go ahead and see how that works. So this is the documentation here. So let's go ahead and install it. So let's copy this. This will install the React Native navigation, and then we need to install a bunch of dependencies, which is here. So since I did not use Expo, we'll be going through this step, which is installing dependencies into a bare React Native project. I'll copy this, I'll paste this, let these dependencies install. So let's see if everything is fine. Get this out, delete this. Okay, since now we have the React router installed, let's go ahead and create some screens. So what I'll do is I'll create a folder and name it screens, and then I'll create a new file which is login.js, and in login.js I'm going to create a React component, create a function here and call it login, and then I will also import React Native style component and then import. So I'll define a container and a text. So I'll do container and I'll use style.view. Okay, and also I will define the text and call it style.text. Okay, so let's go ahead and return this. So I'll create a container. Inside the container I will use the text and call it login. Let's go ahead and return. So that's cool. So we have our login screen set up. So let's go ahead and see how the router works. So in order to see the router, I'll just, let's open the documentation here. So React, so it says you need to import the React Native gesture handler. So I'll import it at the top most level, which is app.js, and then I will also import this navigation container. So we need to import this navigation stack as well. Okay, so this is installed. I will go ahead and import that as well. So you need to import create stack navigator. So we have our navigation container and the stack create stack navigator. So we need to create a stack out of the stack navigator. I'll just copy paste this line here, and let's change this to, so I'll copy this from the example here and just paste that, and instead of, so I'll just remove the imports which is not needed. I'll also remove this. So now we don't need the style component as well, and I'll import, so we need to import the login screen. So let's import login. So everything should work. So let's rename this to login. So let's start the server first. So this requires some native dependency. So instead of, so we need to run Android first. So basically this will run install the APK as well. So this will bundle any dependencies which are native to the app. So now you can see that we have our app here. So let's go ahead and start the JS server and then reload. So this says React navigation / native could not be found within the project. So let's go ahead and check if we installed that. I think it somehow did get installed. So let's install that as well. So I don't know what was the problem here. So when I use the terminal, it got installed. So I'll open the code again. I think this should start working now. So I'll start the JS server. And I'll hit reload here. Okay, so this is not return. This is export. So let's reload it. So now you can see we cannot see anything. I think we need to package the Android APK once again. So in order to do that, we'll just do npm run Android. So you need to keep in mind that whenever a native dependency is installed, you need to package the APK and install it on the emulator. So any changes which you make to the JS side, it can be picked up directly, but anything which is related to the native side, you need to install the APK. So what I'll do is I'll close this and let's start the JS server here. And now you can see that we have our login page set up here. So let's go ahead and start giving shape to our project. So I'll add a couple of screens here. So let's go ahead and add registers.js. We'll also add dashboard, or let's call it home. And then I'll also create profile page as well. So what I'll do is I'll copy the login code and paste it in all the components and rename it. So we need to find login and then replace it with home. Cool. So I'll then paste it here and let's replace login with profile. Cool. And then for the last time I'll rename register as well. So let's rename login to register. Cool. So now we have our 4 screens set up. So let's see how we are going to create the navigation for all these 4 screens. So what I'll do is in order to go to home or profile, we need the user to be logged in. So I'll keep a flag here, is logged in, and if the user is logged in, I will create a tab and I'll put 2 tabs inside that, which is home.js and profile.js, and I'll provide a link from login.js to open register.js. So let's create a link to register.js from profile page, from login page first. So let's import all these screens. Let's import home, register, and let's import profile. So let's rearrange this. See, these are our logged out screens, and these 2 are our logged in screen. Cool. So let's add another screen here and call it register. Okay, and let's go ahead and create a link or button in the login page which navigates to register. So let's open login and we'll create a button. Let's create a button. So here you can see that normally I would import button from React Native, but since I am using the style components, I'll create a constant called button and create a styled version of this button. So I don't need to import this. So what I'll do is let's put a button here. So you can put a button and say login register. Sorry, so the button will take the title prop and this will be register. So let's go ahead and close this. Okay, and we have our button. Okay, so let's do an on click on this. So on click of this button, I'll console log clicked. So in order to open the debug or the console, you need to press Ctrl M on this Android emulator and then click debug. So what will this do is attach a debugger to the app. So now you can see that we have our console which is here. So anything which I console log, it will appear in the console log here. So let's go ahead and click register. Okay, first I need to do a reload. So I don't think so anything is working. So let's check why it is not working. Let me check button first. So sorry, this is not on click, rather it is on press. So I'll change this to on press. Now let's see if it is getting logged. So you can see it is getting logged. So cool. So now we need to navigate to the register page when I click on this button. So in order to do that, I'll quickly show you the React Native docs here. So when you go to moving between screens, so this is the example which is there. So all these screens have this prop called navigation, which we can deconstruct and use it to navigate. So when you see here, when I define the screens, so this stack.screen, so anything which is any component which is defined here will have the navigation prop attached to it. So let's go ahead and deconstruct that. So what I'll do is I'll go to login and then deconstruct the prop and use the navigation prop here. So you can see in order to navigate to different screens, you need to just call navigation.navigate and the name of the screens. So let's change the name of the screen which we define in app.js, which is register. So let's call this register. So let's check if everything is working. So when I click on register, it takes me to the register screen, and when I click back, it takes me back to the login screen. So I think we have our navigation between two screens set up. So now we need to set up the tabs, which are home and profile. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's open app.js. So I'll create a constant here called logged in is logged in, and I'll change this to true for now. So I'm just assuming a constant which is logged in, and we'll later on see how to wire this up, but for now I'll just keep a constant in app.js, and based on this flag I will either go to login or create our tabs. So in order to do that, what we need to do is we need to have a conditional rendering here. So I'll use is logged in, and then we need to move everything down here. So, and we'll do. So for now, what I'll do is copy this, paste this here, and instead of login, I will have home. So if it is logged in, I will go to this screen or this screen. So let's negate this, and when I am logged out or not logged in, I'll show this login, and when I'm logged in, I'll show this home. So I think everything is working. So let's go ahead and change this to false. So when I'm not logged in, I'll go to login page. When I'm logged in, I'll go to the home page, home screen. That is cool. So since we need to change this to tabs, let's see how tabs are implemented. I'll go and open the React navigation docs and go to guides, and let's go to tab navigation. So in order to have tab navigation, we need to install this bottom tabs. So let's go ahead and quickly install that. While it is installing, let's see the documentation, how to do it. So basically we need to import create bottom tab navigator, and then stuff all these screens inside the tab navigator as a tab. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'll open app.js. So instead of this, so let's import the tab navigator first. So let's open this and let's create tabs. So the documentation is like this. So you need to create tab. So I'll open and create tab using create bottom tab navigator. And instead of stack.navigator, I need to do tab.navigator. Okay, let's rename tab here as well, and tab. Let's open what, so it is tab.screen. Cool. So let's reload, let's check what is happening. I think we need to, so let's add the profile as well first. So I'll add profile, change this to profile. I think we need to do run Android here. So now you can see that we have our tabs here. I'll just close this out and let's do npm start here. Let's do a reload. So now you can see that we have our tabs loaded. So when I click on profile, I go to profile, and when I click on home, I'll go to home, and when I change this true to false, my login screen is there. So this was it for part 1 of the series. See you in the next part. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to get notified for the part 2 of this series.